I had one to hear me. Behold, here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. Let the accuser write my indictment. For surely I will carry it on my shoulder. I would bind it to me as a crown. I would declare to him the number of my steps. I would go near him like a prince. If my land cries out against me, if its furrows weep together, if I have eaten its fruit without money, if I have caused its owners to lose their life, then let briars grow instead of wheat, and stinkweed instead of barley.
I would study morning, noon, and night on it, and I would tape up the dialogue because I had to be word perfect as well, because the dialogue is so well known. Because a lot of the dialogue, if you're to read it, is actually very poetic, and there's a lot of metaphors in the dialogue, and I think that's because of the translation over time. So I really had to interpret that and really have it make sense, especially for an audience of today, because the dialogue isn't like a regular dialogue. So it was very hard to learn. So I would study. Never been pushed that hard, because also with memorization, with a regular script, as you were saying, it's regular form of dialogue, where this was let the day perish in which I was born, the night which was set. It was so specific, and I had to really switch my brain into this style of writing. I would start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd have two makeup artists who were incredible work on my makeup, because I had prosthetics, face and arms and feet, and it was great, because then I really had time to work through that day and what that dialogue was. And so by the time,
if, like Adam, I have covered my transgressions by hiding my iniquity in my heart, because I feared the great multitude, and the contempt of families terrified me, so I kept silent and didn't go out my door.
At some point, as I said, I think we're faced with that, where we really come into question when bad things happen to us, and I think it forces, whether that be in religion, whether it ultimately brings you back to a center of faith, or a center of what you believe in, which ultimately helps us get through bad times like that. Because life happens, and life is not perfect, and to think that it is, and how do we get through moments like that is kind of the story of the book of Job. It's this man's journey of how does he, after has everything taken from him, how does he get back to a place of who he initially is? And and then for Job, he comes back to a place of believing in his faith, which ultimately gets him through to who he is originally. Sorry, I kind of I had many Zoom conversations with our director, Dan Wooderson, and once he described how he was going to shoot it, but within a scene, I would have 5-10 pages of dialogue. This is the first monologue in the piece. So once I read through the script, I definitely knew this was going to be a challenge. And the interesting thing is, doing the research on the book of Job, I think between the 4th and 5th century before Christ. There's so many different interpretations of the book of Job, and actually doesn't just show up in the Christianity. It's a story in Judaism and Islam. So